welcome to Samira's show. We're so excited today. We have an amazing guest with us, a wonderful Samira Show is an entertainment talk show. We bring in publicists, actors, producers, a lot of wonderful people, a lot of designers, a lot of doctors, lawyers, a lot of fun things, entertainment, red carpet, events, and charities. So we're going to have today with us Dr. Sarah Rauschen, and she is a family medicine doctor, holistic family doctor. Thank you, and welcome to Samira's show.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We are so honored to be here with you today.
Same here. I'm so honored. It's been such a joy meeting you and working with you so far, noticing all the amazing things you do. So I'm so excited to meet your audience.
Thank you, and I think my audience would just fall in love with Dr. Sarah. Dr. Sarah, she has an amazing energy, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her background.
So I am what I love to do, I'm a mom and a doctor. I've been working in the medical field for a very, very long time. I went to med school in India and went and have traveled the world since learning all of the information that heals that we have in India. So it's a traditional allopathic school, Kastuba Medical College, KMC, which is like sometimes the third, sometimes the best, fourth best med school in India. And I came back to the US, learned with the best doctors here as well, and trained with them. And what I really found is I love healing outside of the scopes of allopathic medicine. So I left traditional allopathic, which is what you normally go to the doctor here and experience, and went into being able to connect and understand what's happening in the body from different modalities that I've learned over the years. Been trained in Edgar Cayce's, which is a psychic doctor that lived in the 1900s. Wow. He used to do readings, and he could tell you exactly over the phone, he could tell you exactly where you were in your house, even though he'd never met you, and describe the exact settings that you were in. I've also studied Rudolf Steiner's work. I love connecting Chinese medicine, allopathic medicine, energy medicine, all of these different things to be able to really tune in to what's happening in each individual person. And many times we go to the doctor here and you only get 15 minutes with the doctor, and barely do you ever hear about what's actually happening in the body. You hear the symptoms, and what I really do is get beyond the symptoms and get down to the root cause of what's harming the body.
Okay, that's amazing. And of course, I also know that you're a very, 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 very famous palm reader.
I am.
So how did a doctor become a palm reader?
Amazing to work with someone who's a beauty queen.
Yeah, I was
and
Miss
also
Iran
with
3 years ago.
With the most beautiful heart. I know you asked how I got into palmistry.
Yes.
And palmistry was taught to me by my grandmother. I was born in the villages. We spoke Farsi.
Are you serious?
My family. I still understand it, so we're a few words here and there.
She speaks Farsi.
I understand it. I don't speak it anymore. It was when I was younger. My grandmother was the village healer. She was the most educated woman in town, and she would help deliver babies, and she would go see what was happening with different children with all the women's issues. And I was the oldest granddaughter that got to be with her. My parents were very young when they married, and so we had this beautiful energy of connecting with one another at
you and your grandmother.
My grandmother and I, and she was so lovely. She took me from home to home. She showed me, and I got to watch her reading palms and tell what was happening in the body based on what she was seeing in here. She also told women what they could do in difficult situations to make a better life for themselves, for their children, for their family. And
for example,
if they were having a difficult time with their husband, she would look at their palms and share exactly what was happening, what attitude-wise. She could read, and I can read now, for what to say to your husband, how to move, how to speak to people to get what you need done. And
Now everyone's going to call you for that.
it was when she passed away. When she passed away, I got to spend like my ages 3 to 7 with her, and then again when she moved to the U.S., my father, my mother, and I, my brothers and sisters moved to the U.S. Later, she moved to the U.S., and I got to live with her again for a little while. And again, people would come see her from around the world. Wow. In her home in Mississippi, and I got to be with her, and I got to experience that learning again. And I am so excited to be able to share this with everyone that wants to. I love to teach people how to read their palms. I didn't know I needed to until she passed away. When she passed away, I was in so much pain that I didn't know how to do anything anymore.
You were so dependent on
I
her.
was so connected to her, and yet I felt so much pain at her. I just started reading palms. And I decided I was going to read 1,000 palms in her honor. And in reading those 1,000 palms, a lot of women came to me and said, I went and saw this person, and they said, I have a curse, and it'll cost $5,000 to remove the curse. Then I would say, there's no curse that's here. I would look in there, and there was no curse, and they'd share the story. Many people came with that. So I started to teach people how to read their own palms. And then I also had people that had their palms read incorrectly. One person had a line missing, and they were told that they would never get married, they'd never have children, because they didn't have the love line. And that really broke my heart. This beautiful young lady was told by someone that wasn't able to really read palms. And so I started teaching classes, and slowly people just kept asking and asking and asking after those readings that I did for my grandmother to continue reading. And so I read palms more than anything else to help people with the biggest decisions in their lives and to know exactly what to do, what their destiny says. And so that's what I love to show. You have something, we all have something specific that we're here to do, and it's stamped in your hand. Chinese medicine, Indian medicine, Egyptian medicine talks about hands, and in caves.
Your destiny's there.
Your destiny's all in here. Our body's so intelligent. It stamps what's written in our heart, in our hands.
So our destiny is in the palm of our hands, and Dr. Sarah will read it, and I know you're going to read a little bit for me.
I am.
I'm excited about that. What is a medical intuitive?
So a medical intuitive is really a medical psychic. So every one of your organs, your eyes, your nose, your heart, your liver, your digestive tract, is sending out signals. We know in science that everything is energy and everything's measurable. The energy that's in your heart can be measured across a room with an EKG. Everyone's had an EKG, and you can measure what's happening in your heart. You can measure what's happening in all of your organs, from the blood cells that are in your toes, the way that that's flowing, to the energy, to the thoughts that you're having. They're all producing a vibration, and I can read the vibration. So it's being able to tell what's happening in your body, and it's giving voice to the actual cause of what's happening rather than the symptom. When we throw a rock into the lake and there's ripples that happen in a lake, I can tell you what that means. When there's a symptom, when you have a cough, there's an underlying thing. When you have a cancer, there's something behind it that's causing it. And so we get to the source of what's causing it, and we really communicate. Medical intuitives communicate how and what your body is trying to communicate with you, and how to also release that from your body. So if you've got a cancer, knowing what's causing it, the repetitive thoughts or the repeating irritation, you can then remove it. You can cause it to go back to a healthy body state with intuition, with communication.
And is it true that cancer has been taken away with this?
It has. I've had several instances where people have really truly healed themselves. One nurse, she was in her 70s. She worked as a nurse her whole life. She'd retired. Part of her lung had been taken out of her body, and she would just go back for a follow-up year after year for x-ray, 10 years. After 6 weeks of working with me, when she went back, on the x-ray, her lung had grown back. It was healthy tissue. She went off 4 of her medications.
Wow.
And she is now an energy healer. She went on to train with me and with Lionheart Institute to become and be able to do what we do. And she heals people now, having healed herself. And she was like me in the normal allopathic medical system, and they couldn't solve it. And understanding what her body was communicating, she was able to solve it. So.
Wow, that's amazing. What kind of things can you tell from palm reading or medical intuitive work?
So there is so much you can tell. You can tell about your love life. You can tell about your children. So I'm able to read in Samira's hand what's happening with her son, what's happening with her husband, even what's happening with her family, because there are lines that connect to all of that. When you first start reading, you can read for, each person is able to read lifeline, how they're thinking, the thoughts that they're thinking over and over again. You can read for what's stopping you, and you can read for things that you're putting in your body that your body doesn't like, that's toxic and causing harm. You can read for experiences like what you're here to do, your purpose, and the easiest way to achieve that purpose.
Why do you take people to Egypt? Because I know you go to Egypt. Actually, can we take a break and show Dr. Sarah's video? She's going to Egypt and taking people with her, and I think it is one of the most amazing things you can do for yourself. Dr. Sarah will tell us later. If you could go in, it's going to be March 28th to April 11th is the Egypt trip. If we can go see the video and come back. Thank you. Dr. Sarah's video. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Greg Roach with Spirit Quest Tours. Today I want to share with you a little bit about one of the places that we're going to be visiting on our upcoming trip to Egypt from March 28th to April 10th with Dr. Sarah Larson and Greg Larson. And it's a Course in Miracles in the Land of Miracles. So not only are we going to Egypt, but we're also going to be doing an in-depth exploration of the spirituality behind A Course in Miracles. So one of the places that we will be visiting on this wonderful trip is the Temple of Isis at Philae. It's one of the most beautiful temples really anywhere on the planet. One of the most picturesque and elegant places from the ancient world. It is dedicated to the goddess Isis, the goddess of magic. And it corresponds more or less to the root chakra, the point of all creation, the unity from which everything springs. We'll be going privately at dawn. We take a boat across the Lake of Silence onto the island, and we will be going into the temple, performing a ceremony, going into the Holy of Holies, and then coming out to greet the rising sun. It is really just a beautiful, profound, and powerful experience, and I hope that you all can join us. Myself, Dr. Sarah Larson, and Greg Larson for A Course in Miracles in the Land of Miracles. Peace and blessings.
Oh my God, amazing. So we're so excited. And so what happens to the people that go to Egypt with you?
So one woman had lost her husband, and when she came on the trip, she didn't recognize that she was no longer living. She had been through a very, very difficult experience in her life. And by coming to the land of miracles, seeing all of these beautiful things on the pyramids, being in these sacred temples, one temple that we visit took 1,200 years to build.
Wow.
And when you stand there, the people that built it, the energy that's there, the magic happens. She came back to life. She was able to go back and engage with her community and to come back immersed in this place. She, instead of dying in this life and walking around like the living dead, she got to come back to life and be available for the people that love her and wanted to be there. It's a 2-week immersive experience.
Because also what happens is when you lose a loved one or you go through any kind of tragedy, you lose your emotions, so you help them get back, especially in a beautiful place like that.
In a beautiful place. One of the places that we visit is a temple that's built being able to connect with the North Star. You're able to connect with the everything in the universe. The North Star is the only thing that doesn't move based on where we are. Everything else rotates and moves. But it's a pinpointed place that stays consistent. This is why sailors used to use the North Star to guide them. And so on these trips, my husband's coming with me.
So you have an amazing husband.
I do. I have a beautiful husband. And so Greg Larson, my husband, Greg Roach, who's been leading tours to Egypt for over 20 years. They know the ins and outs of these regions. We support everyone in their transformation. So 2 weeks of being with us, the three of us have worked so hard in being able to change a person's energy, to go from having difficulties in life to really being able to create the life that you're intending, and to get in touch with the miracles that are available for you in this life by going to a place that's been known for 10,000 years for miracles, for luck, for gold, for alchemy, for magic.
Can we go see the video number 2 of Dr. Larson and come back? Thank you, of the amazing Egypt trips.
Hey everybody, it's Greg Roach with Spirit Quest Tours. I'm going to be sharing with you about some of the sites that we're going to be visiting when we're in Egypt in our upcoming trip from March 28th to April 10th with Dr. Sarah Larson and with Greg Larson. We are going to be exploring A Course in Miracles in the Land of Miracles. And one of the sites that we'll be visiting is the Temple of Kamambo. And it's dedicated to 2 gods, the god Horus, the hawk god, and the god Sobek, the alligator god. And this temple really embodies the principle of duality, of light and darkness. If you think about these animal totems, these 2 embodiments, these 2 personifications, you have the creature of the air, Horus, the hawk. You have the creature of the water, of the darkness, of the muck, Sobek, the alligator god, the crocodile god. And this is really a fascinating temple to visit. And it was also, in the ancient world, an extremely important healing center. On the walls of this temple, you find a number of medical texts, and you also find a bas-relief carving of a surgeon's tray from 1500 years before Christ. It's really a fascinating thing to see all of these surgical instruments laid out exactly the way they would be in a modern operating theater. So please join us on our upcoming trip, A Course in Miracles in the Land in Miracles.
Wow, that's amazing. Again, don't forget, you can go with Dr. Sarah Larson to Egypt from March 28th to April 11th. It is going to heal you. I mean, we all have issues somewhere or another, whether it's family, whether it's business. And not only it'll be a great trip, it'll be experience, it'll be fun and adventurous. You actually will come out a different person. I feel great. I think this past few weeks with all this, intensive therapy and healing, I feel great. I have energy to go to the gym. My whole energy has shifted by doing a lot of these things, and I really believe in energy. So I think, and you were talking about the energy ball, so I think
Yes.
it'll be great to, experience this. The only thing is, you were talking about Egypt is one of the best places in the world and one of the, most beautiful places. Is Egypt safe?
That's a really good question. And I answer by saying I have a 10-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. And when I first was pregnant with my daughter, I wouldn't do all the crazy things that I did before. I became so safe. And I used to skydive, I used to jump out of airplanes and hang glide. When I had a 1-year-old, when I have a 3-year-old, as they grew older, I wanted to do less and less dangerous things because I really want to be here as their mom. And the last time we went to Egypt, which was last year around this time, we get a private tour. We have with us the safest, Mohammed Nazim is who we're there with, and we're at the Mina house. We're on private yachts, and I found it to be one of the safest places on earth. And they're so excited to have tourists come experience their land. We get these private tours, these private experiences. It's very much like Disneyland. There are people coming from all around the world and going to these sacred sites. Spirit Quest Tours sets it up so that we have the temples and the space and guards with us the whole time. And what we see in the media very often is elevated, and it is, the water is beautiful, the food, organic, amazing. The energy of the people that are hosts that meet us just love us and give to us everything. There's, on the private yacht that we're on, there is one staff member per guest that's on. We have our own private chef that cooks exactly
exciting.
what we want. And so the food is safe. This last trip, everyone that came with us really elevated their consciousness and their physical health as well.
So how do you prepare for such a trip?
It's such a great trip to really get at some level, because it's such an ancient land and such an ancient place, and energy, the energy that we are, energy is never created or destroyed. And one of the things that winds up happening is you start having dreams, you start remembering things from experiences.
It's very important to dream.
It's so important to dream.
It's been a long time. Somebody told me, I don't know if you told, I don't remember, to keep a dream journal.
Yes. It's such a powerful thing. We know, just my children, when they talked about dream, my son would say, wow, Mommy.
Do you believe in dreams? I do.
I do, absolutely.
I actually go and look it up every time I feel.
Edgar Casey, which is one of the teachings that I really work a lot with, talks a lot about dreams. In dreams, there are no limits. You can walk through walls, you can experience, and you can understand what other people are feeling and seeing. Source or God or Allah can communicate with us. Those that have passed on can communicate with us in our dreams. And that's because it's this space where anything's possible. And it's the space where we no longer, with our belief system, limit what's possible. And so dreams foretell of things coming in the future. There were many dreams about prophets before the prophets came. Many angels in historical texts talk about dreams and talk about meeting their guides, meeting things in their dreams.
And what is the food like over there?
Oh my gosh, the food
Food's
is
amazing.
so
And
incredible.
where do people stay?
So we stay at the Mina house in Cairo. The Mino House is a palace.
Oh my God, you get to stay in a palace.
We do. We stay in a palace. I actually got to stay in the Jimmy Carter suite
Oh,
last
wow.
time.
I want to go. I'm coming.
The Jimmy Carter Street was where he stayed when he brought together the Nassim and brought
Oh,
together
my God.
Egypt and a lot of the peace talks. Princess Diana, many royalty have
Staying
stayed in the
there.
Mina House, and it was
You
actually
cannot miss that. I want to
built-
stay in a castle. How exciting.
It overlooks the pyramids, so you can outside my window. You saw I saw the Great Pyramids. I saw the moon over the pyramids setting every night. It was just amazing. It's so incredible to describe. And the food, the grounds, the rooms are so well kept and manicured. And again, they care for us so much. They've been having tourists for thousands and thousands of years, people coming to visit. And it's really, they're honored to show us the best that they've got. They're honored to share with us the best food. And it's natural soil, natural organic processes that they've been doing. And the Nile, the fertile lands of the Nile, we're eating fruit and vegetables grown there. We're eating from what's been cultivated, processes, foods that have been eaten, recipes for tens and thousands of years. And then we have those that grew up in the temples, grew up in the pyramids, sharing what they know to be true about the history there, about the pyramids. It's not some scientist coming, although they have been trained. Many of our local guides there have been trained as you can't just talk about it. You have to take extensive tests and extensive training to be able to speak about the pyramids, about each of these temples. You're tested quite extensively. We've got the best the country has to offer.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. And how can the work how do you transform people in 2 weeks? Is that possible?
It really is. My husband is an expert of getting you into the moment. So he works on connecting you with being able to let go of the past. And it's so beautifully crafted because you're in this space, in this land where the past is all around you. Not the 50-year past that we have, but the 10,000-year-old past. And when you see yourself in that scope, you can let a lot of things go. The land underneath absorbs it. And also, you get new ways of being, new ideas, new information about yourself that you had forgotten in these beautiful lands. Greg Roach has been leading tours, and we hear the history of humanity that are written on the walls. That last clip that we saw showed all of the medical equipment that we still use in our surgical rooms was etched out over 5,000 years ago on these temple walls. And it's the same process. Every stage of a fetus is drawn on the walls, and we think, oh, people couldn't have known that. We know that now because we have microscopes or 4D ultrasound that we can see in each stage, but they have it on the walls there, already carved from 5,000 years ago, at least.
You are a spiritual healer.
I am.
So I know you can help a lot of people. I mean, people have lost their families, their parents, or they're going through a divorce. And I know from all around the world, people can contact you.
Yes.
So even if people are in Canada or in the Middle East or anywhere in the world, they can call you, and you can also do Skype because you've been doing it for a long time.
I have. I have currently a client in Spain, a client in Egypt. Tomorrow I am speaking to a man from Morocco. I'm speaking, I have one in Iran that a regular basis all throughout the US. So people throughout, you can send a picture of your hand, or we just talk, and the vibration of your voice shares with me all that we need in order to share with you very precisely what is the next few steps to take, what information you're seeking that will really let you have peace and healing in your life.
Is there anything you would like to say to the audience?
I would love to say, at any given moment, you can have the life that you want to have with just a few understandings of yourself. At any given moment, your life can completely change. You can be living your dreams. And I know for you, winning the beauty contest and the ride that you've been on since then, it was one moment, one decision that you made that transformed everything that came forward. If you knew...
Was that meant to be?
That was meant to be.
Was that in my palm?
It's in your palms. It's in there because what you're here to do is to help thousands and thousands of people. And the life that you were living before wasn't as big as the life that you were meant to live. And so there were other opportunities that were in your hand before that you didn't take. And so this is your lifeline. Yeah.
Fortune telling.
This is your thinking, and this is your heart. And your heart line is so long. You've got such a big heart, and you feel what other people are feeling. You know when you can tell when someone's being truthful, when they're lying. That's one of your gifts, is you can read people's energy very, very well. This right here, it was a very difficult upbringing. You moved to a different country very early.
7 years, moved to Thailand.
Thailand, that's right here. The first 5 years, this is the next 10. So we can go into the year that you were born, this energy, and we read both hands, one for what you're thinking all the time, and one for what you're experiencing. Your tummy is so amazing. You can take just about any food in. And recently it's been, your gut has been informing you what to do next, what to do next. You listen very carefully for what makes people happy, and you try and make that come true for them. So you've got coming up a lot of opportunities with television, even bigger than, what you're doing is beautiful, but this M right here really highlights that you have more shows, more people trying to connect with you, to represent and share journalistically what you see in the world out to the world showing up. So you've got to be in business for yourself. Working for someone else is very much...
I can't work with anybody.
Yes. That's
Samira.
It's got to be the Samira show.
Yeah,
and so
it
it's
is.
really lovely. That shows up as that's one of your strongest things. You've been helping people heal quite a bit as well. You still are learning all that you can do. This is one of the things that's showing up mostly, is you've got so many gifts and talents. And then this part with your heart is really, you want to transform lives throughout the world. You especially love working with women and helping women find all kinds of possibilities. You're still a little bit protective of your energy. There's been a little bit that's come up where you've had to make yourself more intelligent, more able to read people. That's showing up. And you're so intelligent, your ability to make decisions is getting better and better. And specifically, a few years ago, you stopped. You were working and then you stopped. And you really transformed. The work that you were doing was with, it feels like family business, family work. And then you stopped and you moved into what you wanted to do. You're going to travel the world. You've traveled quite a bit, but you're going to completely travel the world as well. Still. Fashion, when you make things with your hands, when the jewelry that you're making, you've got other things, artwork that you're working on, designing, clothing designing is going to come through as well, very much for you. Clothing. It's that's what your mom wanted for you, was this ability to really show all your different talents. Your mom loved boys, and she loved her daughters so much. She wanted to give her daughters so much. This is in here as well, but she had clothes for you all the time, and she generated. And she never thought you were eating well enough. She always wanted you to eat a different. So what your mom wants to communicate with you right now is around really working on having the life that you want. And for you to be she was so brave, all the things that your mom had to do. And she really highlights that for you, is how brave you are. She calls you her brave one. Like there's nothing you can't do. She had a very special connection with your son as well. It's so beautiful. She felt mother's milk that was the most important thing that you could give him as well. Is there anything that you want to hear from your mom? She says she gave you the most beautiful parts of herself. She was such a beautiful woman. She wanted you to be so strong and courageous. She wanted for you to have all of the talents that you're now expressing. Education was really important to her as well. And so she's like, wow, you did so beautiful with what you were given. So you're in the right place is what she's feeling. She still comes. She used to massage you back here, and she still comes when she wants you to know it's her. She taps you back behind you. So she says you kept a lot of the art pictures from her that she had worked on for you guys together. So you have a lot of pictures with art in them from her. Is there anything that you can share that will help us talk a little bit more?
Yeah, whatever I used to buy too. She was my soulmate.
Yeah, she was. Her siblings are with her. And so that's an interesting thing because they loved you too. So you had an uncle. Tell me about your uncle just a little bit.
Yeah, she had an older brother.
Yeah.
She loved him a lot.
Yeah, and he loved you a lot. Your mom used to do things with your hair and your back, and then she talked about her brother, and that was one of the biggest things in her life was the support she got from her brother. I know
that's one thing I can't. I get emotional as my mom. There's nothing I love more than her.
Yeah.
Nobody.
She's with you all the time. So she loves it when you do what she taught you, just a little bit of the ritual prayers. She loved that too. And she loved it with water. That's the part she wants you to remember, is doing the stuff.
She loves swimming.
Yeah, with water. So she wanted you to do that for her. So for both of you guys, she gets to experience that with you now.
Does she want me to go back home often, or she doesn't?
She wants you to go when you're ready. She used to want you to come a lot when she was there. But right now she's saying, and she always would give to you. She would say, you take care of you, you take care of you, meaning take care of your things and then come. And so she wants you to go late August. And is there a reason that, so it's going to be the anniversary coming up of, so her death was recent, meaning last year.
End of August.
Yeah.
Wow, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she wants you, that's a very important time for her, for you, for the journey that you're on. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, you're amazing. People can definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. It's hard to move forward from there. This is something that
She has changed my life, and I think I wanted to make a difference, and I think it was her that pushed me to where I am now.
Yeah, she's that's why she's at your back constantly.
I never want to give up.
Yeah,
I
she
feel
says
like
you won't.
this is so much more than just.
And your hand says you won't. You've got another life that's all right here. Another M, a magic M of you've been doing your duty, what you were sent to do. You've been doing it, and this is so big that it has a whole nother reading, meaning a whole nother path that's generated in here. It has a lot of people working with you and helping you.
With which part?
With your career, with your life, with the mission that you're here on, the mission in life.
Which one should I concentrate more on, the jewelry or the TV show?
Right now, the jewelry it's healing. Meaning when you do jewelry, it helps, it heals you, and it heals the people that wear it. They feel so beautiful in it. They feel like a princess. They feel like a beauty queen. That the TV show is, and it's multiple TV shows that come up, and it's really about reporting more of being able to tell what's real versus what's being shown to be real. That's what you're really good at. You're great at telling the truth and feeling the energy behind it. And you're always supported in that, in your hand. When you're in business for yourself, when you're doing the TV shows for yourself, you always tell the truth. You always help people. And the people that you're helping are the people that are watching you.
She's amazing. I read my palm. We'll go further. I love you.
I
Give me a
love
hug.
you too. Thank you so
I feel like I've
much.
known you forever.
Yeah.
I've never had a TV show this intimate. Dr. Sarah, I know you're also practicing. Where are your locations? And I know you also teach on Thursday nights.
I do. I have a class that I teach and host. I've been hosting it since 2009. It started with people asking me how to read palms. And then I taught that, and it was so much fun. I had doctors, acupuncturists, people fly in even for that course on a regular basis. And it went on to teach about the organs. It goes on to teach about all that's possible. So there's a lot of videos that are available from those classes every Thursday night in the West LA area.
Okay, and where's the location?
It is the Gateway, and
Gateway,
we're
Thursday nights.
every Thursday night.
Okay, so make sure you contact Dr. Sarah Larson. Her website is there, and her email is hello.drsarah@gmail.com. You can contact her. She will be on Samira's show website, and she's amazing. And she will be joining us, and she'll also bring her wonderful guest to joining us on Samira's show. Thank you for watching Samira's show. We love you. Thank you,
love
Dr.
you.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
And she did not even tell us her life story, so we'll come back with that. Thank you. Until next week, Samira. Bye.
Thank you.